The boardroom, the conference room, the leadership table. You call it the office, but to me, it is the arena. For over 3 decades, I sat in those spaces working hard to succeed without compromising my faith. I looked for teaching that showed me how to navigate 2 worlds that everyone said were in conflict, and I found nothing. Nobody was teaching what I needed, so I learned it the hard way. But now I am here to give you what I could not find. Welcome to In the Arena with Stephanie, where we do not balance faith and work, we harmonize them. This is the home of the authentic ambassadors, women who know they were not placed in their arenas by accident, but they know that they were sent. So let's go into the arena. Let me begin by asking you something fun before we get into today's episode. Have you ever worn a mask? Maybe at a costume party or an event, or even just playing around with your kids. Think about how the people around you responded when you had that mask on. They knew it was you. They could see your eyes, hear your voice, even recognize your laugh. But something about the interaction was different. They were relating to the mask as much as they were relating to you. And then you took that mask off, and suddenly you were fully present in a way that you were not before. The barrier or the mask was gone, and it was just you. Now, I want you to hold on to that image because I want to talk to you about something, okay? Tell me if this resonates with you. 99% of the time, you walk into every room prepared. You are a top performer. You consistently deliver results and exceed expectations, and you have the reputation to back it up. From the outside, everything looks like it is working. But in the quiet moments and that space between who you perform as and who you are, it's making you tired. You can't fully explain it anymore, and you're tired not from work, but you're tired from the performance. Did that land somewhere with you? If that landed somewhere that's real for you, I want you to stay with me today. All right, let's dive in here. So I want to talk about something in the arena that often is not brought up. So you don't have these discussions in your weekly meetings or even in your performance review. Because from where other people in the arena are sitting, everything looks fine, right? You look fine, your performance looks fine, and what they see you deliver on a day-to-day basis, it's fine. It actually looks beyond fine. But you know something that they do not know. You know that the woman showing up in that arena every day is not the full version of you. She is a carefully constructed version. She's a version that is slightly masked. And maintaining this version of herself is exhausting. So I want to talk about the mask. And I'm not talking about something you put on deliberately. This is not a decision you made one morning before work. The mask that I am talking about today, it crept in so gradually that you did not notice it happening until it was the way that you consistently show up 99% of the time. And when you are not wearing it, you feel that something is literally off. Can I tell you how it usually starts? You bring your full self into a space early in your journey, and something about that full self is not received well, or you perceive that it's not received well. It kind of looks like this. Maybe you speak up and the room dismisses you. Maybe you show a moment of uncertainty and someone uses it against you. Maybe you share an idea that gets ignored, but then gets celebrated when someone else repeats it. And by the way, there's an episode that talks about that. Or maybe you are simply made to feel that the version of you that walked in that day was too much or not quite enough for that room. So one of those scenarios play out and you begin to make small adjustments, just enough to get through that particular moment. You may pull back a little bit, or you may cover the uncertainty with confidence that you had to manufacture. And whatever it is that you do, whatever that small adjustment is, you're amazed because it works. And it appears that the room responds better. And so therefore you unconsciously file that away. But then the next time comes and you start reaching for that same thing. And what happens? It works again. So you keep it. And slowly, without any single moment you can point to, that small adjustment becomes a habit. And that habit becomes your default. And one day you realize that the habit has become your identity. And your true identity has become uncomfortable and perceived by you as the imposter. Even now, as you reflect, you cannot remember the last time that you walked into that professional space as your full, unedited self without the mask. It's that mask. And here's the thing that's a little bit unsettling. The mask works because you see yourself getting validated with it on. When you have the mask on, you feel like you're getting the promotions that you deserve. You feel like you're getting the results and you're getting the respect. And that effectiveness is what makes it so hard to question and take off the mask. Here's what I want you to notice. The mask that worked at the entry level into the arena gets upgraded at every level you reach. So early on, it was just about surviving maybe a difficult colleague or navigating a room that you didn't think was ready for you. But now you are operating at a level where the stakes are higher and the scrutiny is probably more intense. So now the mask has become more sophisticated. Now you show up and you're over-prepared because in your mind, you're thinking, I cannot afford to be caught off guard. Now this sophisticated mask, it shows up as never admitting out loud that maybe you are figuring something out because at your level, you aren't supposed to be figuring it out. You're supposed to already know it. Or maybe the sophisticated mask shows up as you keeping your ideas close until, you are absolutely certain that they are airtight and perfect because you've seen what happens when someone at your level gets it wrong. See, it's scary because the mask, it grew with you. And it's so polished right now that even the people closest to you in the arena, they cannot see that it's a mask. But you know it is, and you can feel it, and it's heavy now. I want to ask you something. So I want you to pause for a second, and I really want you to think about this. Are you ready? What are you afraid that they will see if the mask comes off? Let me ask the question again. What are you afraid they will see if the mask comes off? I would dare to say that you are afraid that they will see your uncertainties, that maybe they will see moments where you are figuring it out in real time. The places where the confidence that you project is not entirely matched by what you feel inside, those places make you uncomfortable. And you are afraid that if they see that, if they see the composure has cracks in it for even a moment, you believe that they will decide that you are not who they thought you were, and they will begin to question whether or not you belong at the level that you've worked so hard to reach. I nailed it, didn't I? Are you saying, ouch? Are you saying, she sees me right now? Well, guess what? I do. I do see you. And I see you keeping the mask on. And you get better even at wearing it. And the higher you go, the more sophisticated that mask becomes, because the stakes are higher and there's less room for anything that looks like uncertainty. But guess what? Today, it can change. Today, you can lay your mask down. So let's go back just for a minute and understand where this mask came from. The mask started as a response to a real experience. It wasn't weakness that made you put it on. Instead, it was a mindset of survival. You were navigating a space that gave you real reasons to protect yourself, and you found something that worked. And there's no shame in that. The mask, it served you. But although it served you back then, the fact that you are continuously wearing it is also costing you something even greater. So think about it. In the arena, it may look like, hey, there's no cost, but it is costing you something outside of the arena. The people closest to you sometimes feel like they are relating to a managed version of you rather than the real one. And again, it's not because you do not love them, but it's because you have been performing for so long that vulnerability feels like a liability. Even in your relationships where it's not supposed to be a threat. Let me just for a moment talk about one of those relationships. And it's the relationship that I know as a woman of faith is at the top of your list. And that's your relationship with God. How does wearing the mask impact your relationship with God? See, you know that you are His ambassador. You spend time in prayer, you go to church, and you do all the things a woman who loves God is supposed to do to the best of your ability, right? But if you're honest, when you're wearing that mask, even your prayer life is impacted. Your prayer life has a version of the mask in it. When you begin to pray, you present this composed version of yourself to God. And you pray what you perceive to be the right words. But you're not having that raw, real conversation with God. That honest conversation about what you are actually feeling and what you are actually afraid of. That conversation is not happening. So even in prayer, you are managing how you appear. Isn't prayer supposed to be the place where you cast all of your cares on Him? Why? Because He cares for you. It's supposed to be a place of vulnerability and submission. But the mask has turned it into a place of cover-up. And that should sound somewhat familiar to you. What did Adam and Eve do? And in their case, they had sinned, but they were now exposed. Right? And so they tried to put on a mask. They tried to hide. They tried to cover up. But you know as well as I do, there is no cover-up or mask that God cannot see through. I want you to hear me clearly today. God does not need your composed version. He already knows what is underneath it. He is not impressed by the mask, and He is not waiting for you to have it together before He meets you. But He is waiting for the real you to show up. The one who is uncertain, the one who's tired, the one who has been performing so long that she forgot what it felt like to just be. That is the woman that He wants to talk to. And that conversation, the real one, is where you get instructions for your assignment. That real conversation is where you get the resources that you need to carry out His assignment as His ambassador. Now, I know this episode, it has a lot, and you may need to go back and listen to it, and you may even be feeling a little bit exposed right now. But I'm almost done, so hang with me. Wearing the mask was never part of your assignment as an ambassador. The assignment was given to the unmasked you. Years ago, Jenny Rometty, who was the first woman to serve as the CEO of IBM, and I'm thankful that I got to be in the company at that time when she was CEO, but she once said that someone told her something that she never forgot. And one of those things that she said, she told us about this phrase, and the phrase is that growth and comfort do not coexist. I think about this statement in the context of what we're talking about today, because the mask is comfortable. Over time, it becomes comfortable. It's familiar. It's effective, and it is keeping you from growing into the fullness of who you were actually sent to be. The uncertainty you're hiding is not evidence that you do not belong at this level, but it is evidence that you are at a level that requires you to grow. And growth often brings uncertainty. And that is not a warning sign. Okay? That is confirmation that you are exactly where you are supposed to be. Psalms 139:14 says, I am fearfully and wonderfully made. You are fearfully and wonderfully made to be an ambassador of Christ in your arena. That was written about you even before the arena existed for you, before you got your title or your track record or any of that. You were fearfully made and wonderfully made by God. The woman God made and sent into your arena is not the polished performance version, but she is the real one, and she is enough. Now, if you've been wearing that mask, you don't have to take it off all at once. You don't even have to walk into your next meeting and perform vulnerability for the room. I'm just asking you to start noticing when you are wearing it. And start asking yourself in the quiet moments whether the adjustment you're about to make is wisdom or whether it is just the mask reaching for a situation it was never meant for. The woman in the mirror that you see, is she wearing the mask? If she is, I ask you just for a brief period of time to take it off, because she has been waiting for you to see her. The woman in the mirror, unmask, she is you. I want to thank you for joining today. If something shifted in you today, do not keep it to yourself. Share this episode with another woman in the arena who needs to hear it, because you never know whose breakthrough is on the other side of you hitting that share button. If you haven't already subscribed, go ahead and do that now. And while you are there, please leave a rating and a review. It takes only about 2 minutes, and it helps us reach more women who are standing behind their mask and need this conversation. And if you have not grabbed the Balanced Myth Playbook yet, the link is in the show notes. Go ahead and get it today. Read it this week. It is a tool for you to read. I'm rooting for you, Authentic Ambassador. Your kingdom authority and your corporate influence, they are not in conflict. And guess what? They never were. So now, go ahead and lead. I will see you in the next episode. Stay in the arena.